Morning, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Whole lot of stuff going on right now. So markets are down. There was retaliation strikes from U.S. on Iran, and then President Trump said the deal is over. He doesn't want to deal with them. But now, just because it wasn't said at a NATO meeting or something, the markets are pushing back up. So who the hell knows? Okay, this market's crazy. Crude is up almost 5%. Okay, Nasdaq is down almost 1%. ES is pairing losses. Okay, he was talking about Spain and a bunch of stuff. Okay, now yesterday I had no trades. We barcoded. I was looking at in the ES around the 75.70 short, and then it just didn't really set up. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for a walk, or I'm gonna watch the end of the um, Argentina game. And then when I got back from my walk or whatever, I saw that it 75.70 was basically the top of that consolidation. But it's all good. Okay. Now, of course, today's nuts. All right. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Stephen Gazowski's market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my hedge. So it's going to come up with my game plans. Okay. Now, once that market opens up, I use my market internal to show me where money flows are coming in off the open, with a little assistance of Anchor View Ops, a little ICT, my weekly expected move indicator I give away for free on my Discord, and my gamma flip points, weekly and monthly gamma flip points I give away for free on my Discord as well. All that wrapped into one is my own proprietary trading system. Okay, now hopefully you join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert, give you the market news, the economic calendar, technical analysis, and I always leave you with the long and short trade scenarios in the ES and Nasdaq futures later on in the stream. If you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Let's get right into the futures watch-list here. VIX is up almost 10%. Okay. We're at 17.7 VIX. Crude is up over 5%. Okay. 10-year yield's up 0.80. Dollars up 0.20. 30-year bonds are being sold. Down 0.42, ES down 0.71, Russell down 0.90, Dow's down 0.95, Nasdaq's down over 1%, gold down 2%, Bitcoin down almost 2.5%, Ethereum down 2.5%, silver down 3.5%. Okay, moving on. Mag 7s plus Netflix up 0.29. That's the only leader. Everything else is down. Let's go to the 2%ers. I'll include AMD. AMD is down 1.62. Intel down over 2%. Coinbase down 2.31. Micron is the laggard, down 3.77%. Top sector stocks here: Chevron, Exxon, and Walmart, all up. PepsiCo, Costco, McDonald's, those are all safety plays. Okay, now who's down pretty big? Qualcomm, Oracle, Home Depot's down 1.80. GE Vernova is down over 2%. NEM mining stock down over 2%. Palantir down 2.88%. Sectors: energy is up 1.5%, followed by staples up over 0.5%. And then we have discretionary, your Tesla, your Amazon, your Home Depot down 0.84. Technology down almost 1.5%, and semis down over 1.5%. Okay, that's what's going on there. Economic calendar. Okay, today 30-year mortgage rose. Okay, we got crude inventories at 10:30. FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Obviously, Trump's schedule today. Let's see what that is today. Let's see here. 1 a.m., 3:30. Let's see here. Yeah, he participates in a bilateral meeting. President of Ukraine. President's he was just speaking in NATO. Yep, NATO. So the market popped on him not saying anything about Spain or terminating the deal with Iran. I don't know how that is news, but that's what came out, and the market ripped higher. Okay, that's what's going on there. Now, obviously, um, He said the Iran peace deal is over. I don't know if that's, I mean, that's probably not true, but um, that's basically what happened. Let's see here. 12:30, Trump meets Syrian leader. All right. That already happened. That's all I see right now. Okay. This thing didn't get updated. That's basically the news. Is this updated? No, it did not get updated. Okay. Checking on the dispersion index spread. That is again made all-time highs the day before. It's like I said, is going to get a correction. Now, this news came out, and this is obviously from yesterday. Obviously, the markets are down. Okay, not crazy down, but they're down. All right, that's that. Now we can move on to the market internals. Market internals. Here's the recap. Okay, so yesterday we started out decent, and then we were pushing lower, right? And we hit last week's close. And then I was saying when I was live, well, it looks like we're bottoming out here. And then there was really no setup. And then we barcoded. And I was looking, if this was futures, to get short right around here. And I was like, I just don't like it. It's barcoding. And then it winded up falling. Okay. But none of this was too crazy weak. It wasn't insane. Okay. And then we got this news. After the market closed, I was like, oh boy, this is crazy. So internally, like I said, we decently weak. Everything kind of red, but nothing insane. Okay. Now, let's move on to daily charts. All right. So I keep talking about these daily supply zones, right? They've been a problem. They've been a problem. Also, this main downtrend line. And remember, I said 2 prior weekly highs. So it keeps trying, right? And obviously now we're down at 742. We're down here in the middle of all this mess. Okay, you're in the middle of the 90 MA and the 20 and a rising 50. Pretty much still really not going anywhere. Okay, futures. All right, so futures is just a mess. I mean, this is a mess. Again, what did we do? Into daily supply. Right there. Prior to weekly highs. Now, in futures, we hit the 50-day. We're right at the 20. Look at all these moving averages. It just tells you all you need to know. All of them are converged. Kind of flattening out means we're not doing nothing. All right. Qs. What are we yesterday? In daily demand. I was like, oh boy. What we just hit last week's lows. I was like, man, I'm not shorting that thing. I don't want to short that, right? And we broke this downtrend line and closed below the 50, right? But now we're all the way down here, 702s. Still in daily demand. 702.40s to be exact. So we're gapping down. To me, this is looking like, I don't know. I think Trump make these idle threats and no one really trusts them. Okay. So let's see here. NASDAQ, you can see this is relatively weaker than the ES, right? We are underneath last week's lows. That is significant, I would say. Okay. That is significant. So we're getting some buying under the 50. Who knows? I don't know. Okay. Let's move on to the hourly charts here. Now, my analysis today isn't going to be as close to the market open as I usually like it, but we'll look at these hourly charts together. Okay. Let's see if I can actually still write on this. Yes. Okay, great. All right. So look at this market. Just because Trump, it's so crazy, didn't mention it that he was going to terminate the deal, this is all poor structure, folks. And we could be here later on. Okay, you can see now in the ES, the balance area from 74.80s, look at that equal low, right? We pretty much swept it now. It's a big area. This could, look at this. It could easily find ourselves back here at the most traded price of the month, 75.44s. Okay. Pretty crazy. So I think you're going to have problems up into the 75.40s, but this is all set to just get all taken back. Okay. Pretty easy analysis for here. Okay. Let's go to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is relatively weaker. Just look at it. We broke this major support here, but it's getting bought back as well. So look to have problems around last week's lows at 29274s. There's a heavy supply here. We're still in demand. But this is just, I think, what the market's saying. Let's price in this possible deal could be over. And most times, you know, Trump doesn't really follow through with threats. Like the deal's over or what's going on, right? So we're coming back here. And we probably could be into here later on and be like, all right, priced it in. Let's move on. Okay. So that 29274 is just look at that. Look out for that. You know, your 289s. We came right into demand. You could see it's prior to weekly lows in a row we broke. Okay. And that's it for the hourlies. Okay. Let's just look at the market profile, volume profile now. All right, this is your market profile, volume profile. Okay. Big gap down, but guess what, folks? We're almost back to the midpoint of this gap. You do have a poor low or an equal low here. That is susceptible to get broken now. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen right now. Nobody does. Okay. So let's get into the long and short trade scenarios in the ES. Okay. So let's map out the levels. 75.16 is your overnight 50% retracement. 75.16s. We're almost there. 75.29 is your gap fill as today's lows. Now that's quite a lot of shorts down here, even with volume. Okay. So, like I said, look, you took out that 74.80s. That's a lot of shorts now. Going to cover, taking profit. And you really have to see where we end up. Okay, let's break out the session. Those are the 39 bars. Now there's single prints right here. Okay, those signify emotional selling. And you can see the thin volume. Okay. Very, very heavy overhead supply here. Okay. 75.45s is your most traded price of the month. And we are in ultimate balance because now the most traded price of the week is 75.66. Okay. So let's map out what the scenarios are going to be here. Okay. We're going to start with shorts. Okay. Now, what if we get resistance in this area? That's bearish. Okay, so if we come in here, 50% retracement, failed to fill the gap, right? Boom. You get a lower high. You would short that, targeting overnight lows, that equal low, that poor low, that 74.68. Okay. And I don't know if this can happen, but 74.20 is a high volume node. Like I said, I'm skeptical that this market will fall apart today. Okay. Very skeptical on it. Now, let's say we fill the gap. Boop. 75.20 try to go back up to the 75.44s, right? And I'd prefer this to happen very quickly, okay? Because what I could see is longs take profits up in here. There's a lot of overhead supply. You're not going to get through this very easily. If you get rejected, you cannot find acceptance over the 75.44s. Boom, right? Come back in. All right, maybe retest yesterday's lows. I think that's a short as well. Target overnight lows, 74.68s. Okay, on the short side, the long side. What I would like to see, okay, is let's map out some high volume nodes here. You have a 64.86 and a 74.74. Okay, if we do get the resistance here, right, and let's say this is very quick, okay, you can look for a pullback to that 74.86, maybe dip into this demand zone, hold the 74.86, you go long, okay, you target gap fill 75.29s. Okay, if this has to, I prefer this to be quick. We open up, we come down, we sweep, take out that poor low and the overnight lows, right? But then we recover, and internals are not that weak. Okay, you put in a higher low, you take that long, you target 75.16, then 75.29. Okay, that is your ES. All right. Let me look at NASDAQ because I might have to take off. Wow, NASDAQ's almost filling the gap already. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. And NASDAQ's in a bunch of demand here. Big major demand zone, two overlapping demand zones. You're below the last week's lows, right? Prior weekly lows. So very interesting with the NASDAQ. I'm going to try to do this very short and sweet here. Let's get into the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ. Let's break out this session. All right. Now, a lot could happen from now until market opens, so I understand that. Okay. You do have the single prints, a lot of overhead supply. It's going to be pretty much the same analysis. Okay. So I'm going to start off with shorts. Okay. So what would I see here? All right. So you have the the overnight 50% retracement lines up with yesterday's gap fill. So that's a very key area here, right? So let's say we fill the gap. Okay. You have major demand right here at 292.74s. So either you get a perfect gap fill and this market tanks and you take out that overnight lows. You do have poor structure below us, a bearish rally gap, bullish rally gap, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of demand here. Okay, do you take out that bullish rally gap? Now, the end of that bullish rally gap that has never been taken out is 28743. Okay, 28743. Now, if you go deeper, let's say you go into last week's range, right? But there's heavy supply here. Any resistance in here that it's quick, let's say we make it quick and the market's not that strong, I would wait for some type of heavy selling to come in, get a retest around the 293s. You short that, target overnight lows. Okay. Now, as far as a long goes, same thing as I talked about in the ES, okay? So what would I like to see here? Fast move. I want a quick move. Sweep the overnight low, 28910. Now, if you do even go into this bearish bullish for value gap, right? And you get support like this, whoop, and you go back into the overnight range, put a higher low, and that's a long. And you target gap fill 29209. Okay? I'm going to leave you with that. Okay? I'm going to leave you with that. And just an overall outlook. Okay, 74 68s. We went down there. 74.80 was a par low. That's been swept. If this market just looks at this like Trump's blowing hot air, look for us to probably go back to 75.44 is the most traded price of the month. Okay. I think it's I don't I can't see us all of a sudden falling out. This might have just priced in this little thing. Okay, this little news that came out. Okay, as far as the Nasdaq goes, okay, as far as the Nasdaq goes, we're in heavy demand right now. We're below 2 prior weekly lows. Okay, a lot of overhead supply above us. Again, I'm not sure what I believe here. If we sweep the lows, I think that's probably a long. But like again, we have to see how the market turns out. I would say that I I think we just saw this priced in. But like I said, that's probability and that's just a feeling. I'd have to see when the market opens. Okay, smash the like button if you enjoyed that analysis. That'd be much appreciated. Now, hopefully, you can join me every morning, give you the market story, market news, all right, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the ES and the Nasdaq futures. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Now, everybody, we have a plan. I understand it's a little earlier than normal. All right. We should have some nice volatility today. All right. Remember, no trade's a trade. And I will be live around 9:45 a.m. Please come join me in my Discord. If not, I'll see you.